Good day, grade 10s. Hope you guys are good and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing exam type questions for linear patterns or sequences, right? So without wasting any time, let's get straight into it. In today's question, we have this following question over here. It says, consider the finite linear patterns, and then you have these numbers over here. So the first things first, when you get something like this, you first have to work out the difference between the terms right here, right? And if the difference between these terms are the same, it means you have an arithmetic sequence, which by definition is a sequence or a pattern that has the same common difference. So if you look at 20 and 17, the difference between these two terms is 3. If you look at 17 and 14, the difference is also 3. So it means it has a common difference. It's an arithmetic sequence, English, arithmetic sequence, right? And if you have an arithmetic sequence, you can write this following equation, right? Just note it. And then once you've determined that it's an arithmetic sequence, you then also have to highlight your first term. So these are the things that you do before you even start answering the questions that you have. First, you work out the common difference, and then you also note the first term, right? Now that we've noted A, which is the first term, and D, then we can start answering the questions. The first question, it says, write down the fourth term. So with these type of questions, it's usually worth 1 mark. So you don't have to show your calculations. Just go to your first sequence and say, now that we've determined that the difference is 3, what's 14 minus 3? It's 11. And that's your answer. You have 1 mark. So it says, determine the expression for the nth term. So this is where you pull out this equation. You're going to say Tn is equals to A plus open bracket n minus 1 d. Right, and then you're going to substitute where it needs to be substituted. You're going to say, what's A? A is your first term. So that's 20 plus n minus 1. And then D is negative 3. The reason why it's negative 3 is because the further along you go with this pattern, like you have less numbers. So if, let's say it was 20 and 23 and it was increasing, it was going to be a positive, but it's a negative because it's decreasing. I hope that makes sense. So it's negative 3. And then you're going to say is equals to 20. What is negative 3 times positive n? It's negative 3n. Negative times negative is positive 3, and 1 is 3. And then Tn is equals to, what is 20 plus 3? It's 23 minus 3n. That's your final answer. So we can test it out. Say 23 minus 3 times 1. What's 3 times 1? It's 3. 23 minus 3 is 20. 23 minus 3 times 2 is 6. So 23 minus 6 is 17. 23 minus 3 times 3. 3 is 9. That's 40. So that's how you know you're right. So let's go to the third question. It says, calculate the number of terms in the sequence. Now we know that it is a finite linear pattern. So meaning that this is the last number of the sequence. So when you want to calculate the number of terms in the sequence, you substitute this number over here where it says Tn. So you say minus 103 is equals to 23 minus 3n. And then you're going to group the like terms. So what I usually do when I'm trying to solve for a variable and that variable is negative is I will divide all of these other terms by -1. Kind of a long try, but it does help, right? So you say 3n. And then once you have this, you're going to group the like terms. So 3n take this 23, move it to the other side. 103 plus 23 is equals to 3n. Now 3n is also equal to 126, right? And then if you divide both sides by 3, what's your final answer? 42. For question 4, it says, which term is the first to have a negative number? To answer question 4, right, there's 2 ways to do it. The first way, which I'm not sure you're going to be rewarded for in the exam, you can write out the remaining numbers in this sequence over here in this pattern. And then once you've indicated that you've calculated for everything, then you can show that, okay, fine, your negative value starts at this term, right? But I'm not sure if you're going to be rewarded for it by your marker. Sometimes you will, depending on the marker, right? But it's not a good way to go about it, because if these were big numbers, then you're going to spend most of your time writing all of these numbers in this sequence. So it's going to be time consuming, depending on how big the numbers are. So there's a way to find this number. It's a formula. So you use inequalities. Basically, you say it's Tn, right? So which Tn is less than 0? And so the answer that you get here is going to be your first value, or the first term to have a negative value. And then after you get this answer, you can also like test it out just to prove, right? So what's Tn? Tn is equals to 23 minus 3n is less than 0. You're going to take this negative 3 and move it to the other side. And then you're going to divide both sides by 3. The answer is going to be 23 divided by 3 is less than n. And then it's going to give you 7.66666.7. To the nearest whole number, it's 8. So the 8th term is where you get your first negative value. And like I said, you can test this out. 23 minus 3n, which is 8, is equals to, what's 3 by 8? It's 24. So 23 minus 24 is negative 1. So the final answer in this instance is the 8th term. Okay, so the last question is asking for the value of the 19th even valued term, right? So the first thing you'll notice about this particular sequence is that it has a even number, odd number, even number, odd number, right? So in this instance, we are looking for the 19th even number of this equation, right? How do you get the 19th even value of this equation? You say, what's 19 times 2? 19 times 2 is 38, right? So initially we said we have 38 values, right? Out of the 38 values, we know for a fact, because we've looked at the number sequence, we know for a fact Uguti, 19 of them are going to be odd numbers. And then the other 19 are going to be even numbers, right? So you'll see that where the position number is odd, let me write this down because it's a tongue twister. Where the position number is odd, the value is even, and vice versa. If we start from 1, 3, 5, 7, if you count all of them, you will find that the 37th term is the one that has the 19th even value. So how are you going to write this? You're going to say Tn is equals to 23 minus 3, 37. it's going to be Tn is equals to 23 minus 111 is equals to minus 88. That's your final answer. So this is where I want to end it for today. Stick around for tomorrow's video where we're going to be doing part 2 of these exam type questions. But for now, if you have questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. Right? If there's a topic you want me to cover or a specific exam paper you want me to go over, feel free to comment. Right? For now, this is all I have. Peace.